Hey folks, Levi here once again. Welcome back to another review. Hope you enjoyed my review of Justice Christ on Phineas Part 2, which I was not a fan of that movie, but if you know more thoughts on that movie, just watch my review. Also, guys, remember, Levi McNally 93. Thank you guys for the 339 subs. So we're getting there to 400. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. I'm confident we will because I'm not going to quit YouTube, guys, don't worry. If you haven't seen me in a while, it's just because I've been, busy with work, working sometimes, because I'm always going to be here on YouTube. Just remember, if you don't see me, it could be family stuff going on, or just spending time with family, or work, or just stuff like in life in general, things going on with me. Yeah. But anyway, guys, remember, it's Levi McNally 983 with the Mass Profile Picture. If you're subbed to this channel, stay subbed. If you want more videos, more content from me on this video, on this channel, stay on this channel. You can watch videos on my other channel, but don't watch that one. And anyway, guys, what I've been, just letting you know, you won't, if you subscribe to that channel, the Batman Mask with the Phantasm Profile Picture, you will not see any videos, content on there anymore. Only on this channel with the Mask Profile Picture. On my channel here, Leaving Right Now, 983. Anyway, uh, again, I've been doing, guys, what I call a superhero marathon. Also, what I call the 2020s era superhero reviews. These are superhero films that came out in the decades we're living in now, the 2020s, starting with 2020 to 2025, the year we're living in right now. And I've been on the year 2024. Got a bit more movies to go. About, let's see, it's this one. Then it's two movies in August. No, I'm sorry. Well, another movie in July. This film came out in July. So another movie that's two in August, three, then three in October, one in November, and one in December. So about eight more movies to go for 2024. But we'll get there. Anyway, today's review. I'm reviewing another DC animated film. This is a superhero film trilogy, and based on the comic book storyline of Crisis on Infinite Earths, 1985 to 1986, written by Marv Wolfman and penciled by the late George Perez. It's written and directed by Jeff Lemire. This is the 59th film of the DC Universe animated original films, and the 10th and final installment in the second phase of the DC animated movie universe, and the 25th final films overall. So this is the last of it. That is, yeah, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, Part 3. I don't have the movie, but really awesome poster. To be honest, I enjoyed this one. Yes. So far, my least favorite, the worst one in my opinion, is Part 2. I did not like that one. Part 1 I liked, but in my opinion, this was the best part, in my personal opinion. I like where they went through. Yeah, there are some issues with the movie, but despite that, it's still really good. I'm not saying it's a complete masterpiece, but I don't like critics who hated it too much. I thought it was really good. I felt like we got more characters of the Justice League and what they were going on with the story. It felt like an actual Justice League movie than the first two movies did. Though I like the Flash, though the Flash actually sets up the story for this third movie, and the second movie does in a way too. Set up the story for, and this is the third and final installment. So yeah, but not it for DC animated movie. DC will probably continue to keep on making animated movies, of course. Yeah. Probably to the voice cast. Well, first of all, with the history, this film is part three is also a tribute to Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman one more time. Yeah, before his death, in November 2022. Mark Hamill, well, I read somewhere on Facebook yesterday that he might come back as Joker on one condition, but I mean, I would like to see him come back as Joker, but without Kevin Conroy, it just would not be the same. Yeah. Part 3 was released on July 16th, 2024 of last year, direct to video. And it was also dedicated to George Perez, but also, like I said, this final part was dedicated to Kevin Conroy. Will Ferrell came back as Batman Beyond Part 2. Mark Hamill does respire his role as Joker from the anime series in here. And Kevin Conroy voices Batman one more time, sadly. Yeah. But for the voice cast for Part 3, let's see. That is Brian Bloom as Adam Strange. He stars the Punisher in Avengers Confidential Black Widow and Punisher. Once Upon a Time in America. He looks so familiar. Oh, he was in the A-Team remake. Okay, yeah. As Brock Pike. Okay. Jesse Gerson Phineas, he voiced Ultraman. Yeah. Green Lantern for Robot Perry, he also voiced Adam Strange. Ashley Burch as Nightshade of Earth 4. She's done some other voice work too. And I was talking about the A-Team, not the show, but the remake with the Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper. Yeah, that's for Jessica Biel too. She's done some voice work as well. And Kevin Conroy, of course, y'all should know, who voiced Batman in the 1992 classic animated Batman the animated series. And of course, has voiced Batman in like Batman Arkham games, Batman the Killing Joke, in the Batman Arkham games, and some of the Batman video games, I think too. Yeah, like Mask of the Phantasm, Batman Mr. Freeze Sub Zero, Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond TV series, voicing older Bruce Wayne, Batman Gotham Knight, Superman Batman Apocalypse, and Public Enemies. Yeah, he voiced Batman and Batman and Harley Quinn, Justice League vs. the Fatal Five, and this movie was his last time. Yeah, Burt Dalton as Batlash, Captain Atom. He was Grant Ward in Agents of Shield. I get this show with Marvel, I believe. He voiced Parasite, Rudy Jones, and Superman Man of Tomorrow, and voiced Parasite again previously in Justice League World in all these three parts, or just the third part. Sorry. John Diggle as Lobo. Yeah, did a voice of Doctor Dolittle 2, TMC 2007, Underdog, B movie, Wreck-It Ralph, the Super Mario Brothers movie, Scoob, Keith Ferguson as Two-Face, Harvey Dent, Jennifer Hill as Yell, as Aya, Mark Hamill as Joker for 2 Joker. Y'all should know Mark Hamill for Star Wars as Luke Skywalker. I'm talking about the original trilogy, the sadly crappy sequel trilogy, and of course, also not only Batman did he work in Batman the animated series voicing the Joker, but that same year in the 90s he played the Trickster in the Flash TV series from the 90s, starring John Wesley Shipp. And he's done a couple movies here and there too. He did voice Joker in Batman the animated, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. And he voiced Chucky in the Child's Play remake, 2019, which I actually like that movie. Sue me. Jamie Gray Hyder as young Diana Prince. David Kay as Condorian Lantern. Sorry. Cynthia K. Williams as Beth Chapel, Cheetah. She was in TV shows like Real Husbands of Hollywood, Prison Break, and Nashville. Elizabeth Alicia Eliza Roto as Black Canary. Diana Dark as Black Canary. Okay. She also voiced a character in Justice Society World War II. Katie Sackhoff as Poison Ivy Pamela Ising. Oh, beautiful actress as well. I remember her, she's done some like Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. I think she's also played in she was in the Halloween Resurrection movie where she gets her head chopped off by Michael Myers. And she was also in the Flash 2014 series, starring Grant Gustin. And in Batman Year One, let's see, she voiced Detective Sarah Henson in that. So she's worked with DC before. And Watchmen Chapter 1 2, she voices Silk. Okay, cool. Jason Specs, Razor, All Grown Up, Rocket Power, Green Lantern, the anime series. So some cartoons and anime he's done voice work for. Corey Stoll is Lex Luthor of Earth 10. Corey Stoll, okay, good actor. You guys should probably know him as Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket, MODOK from the first Ant-Man movie, 2015, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yeah. Aaron Taylor as Flesh of Earth 2, Jake Garrick. Dean Winters as Captain William Storm. Here's Law and Order's SVU. Did some TV shows and stuff. Let's see, any movies that I've seen. The first John Wick movie. Yeah, you have cameos from heroes like Black Lightning, Blackheart, a lot of them. Peacemaker from Earth 4, Uncle Sam, Dollman, Ray, and Black Condor. Yeah, you have a ton of characters, especially in Part 3. Yeah, and the plot for Part 3 in the film is directed by, again, Jeff Waymaster. His screenplay is by Jim Crook for all three parts. It's produced by him, Kim Willis Moore, Bush Loke, Sam Register, Michael Uslan. Michael Uslan, who got the ball rolling on on Tim Burton's Batman. Well, it started that out with somebody, but he's one of the reasons that movie came to be. Why Batman got to be, darkened in the shadows again after the campy version of Adam West Batman. Yeah, Bush Loke and Sam Register, they've worked on many DC films. Yeah. Sam Register, yeah, many DC films like Wonder Woman, 2009 Green Lantern First Flight, Superman Bat Public Enemies, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, some of the Scooby Doo animated movies, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Turtles, Justice League World War II, Batman Soul of the Dragon, Batman Superman, Battle Super Sons, edited by Bruce A. King, music by Kevin Ripple, who did music over the first two parts as well, and Nancy Drew, Shrek 2 the Game, The Bible Game, Crackdown 2, production company Warner Brothers Animation DC Entertainment, distributed by Warner Brothers Entertainment. Part 3 was released July 16th, 2024. Part 3 is 98 minutes long. It is about 1 hour and 39 minutes long of running time. So the plot, though, this is like the final ending, Part 3, that is that the Anti-Monitor attacks the remaining Earths and their inhabitants. And the heroes that include Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League, and with many heroes from other Earths, all these heroes have to team up, along with some villains, including Lex Luthor, and like Joker, even Two Face. They all have to team up. Poison Ivy have to team up across the time, and the Justice League they have to take a final stand against the evil. They have to learn about the history of the evil, how it came to be. Batman investigates, along with help from John Constantine, and they have to kill the Anti-Monitor for good. Because spoiler alert, there are spoilers. Laura killed the Monitor in Part 2, so they have to find a way. He's a great threat. He's like a huge, big robot-looking monster that can crawl through space and time, creates antimatter, so they have to team up and they have to figure out how to defeat him, and they have to save their world, but save the universe. The Justice League, the heroes, they have to save the universe and take a final stand against the Anti-Monitor. Yeah, so that's the plot for you. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the movie. So now, if you've never seen Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, or if you have not seen the first two parts, if you haven't seen Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, this is going to be a spoiler review. Spoiler alert though, Kara does sacrifice herself, Supergirl, so you can probably tell her from the poster and Superman look on his face. Yeah, I definitely could tell she was probably going to do that in this movie. So, but like I said, if you've never seen this movie or the first two parts, turn the video off right now so you don't spoil it for yourself. Like I said, spoilers in this review. So if you don't want to spoil it for yourself, turn the review off right now. But if you want to watch all three parts, go on HBO Max. HBO Max has, if you have Max or HBO Max, whatever you want to call it, um, which I watched part 3 on, but part 1 I still have, part 2 I don't have anymore. I'm getting rid of that Blu-ray, but I would definitely like to pick this up because I did like this movie anyway. So those will be spoilers again, warning, and I will put that description box below as well. Always read the description box if you guys want you know, to see what my ratings for movies are, and just to let you know the spoilers and everything. I put it down in the description box below as well. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Justice Crest for Infinity Part 3. And this is just my opinion on the film, how I feel about it. If you hated it, that's fine. You know, but I'll get to my problems later with it. Anyway, let's go and talk about it. Okay. So it opens up with the monster dying, and a lot of worlds getting destroyed. Diana, Wonder Woman, she gets lost for after the monster dies, after Clark gets mad and uses her X-ray vision. I mean, not X-ray vision, heat vision. She murders him. He like dies in a way. He gets his there's this cosmic engineering within him into the satellite. It gives her enough power to transport the surviving Earth and their sons into a dimension between the universe called the Bleed. And 8 months later, you have Hawk growing up to Superman. They find Wonder Woman's body in space, but she's able to survive it. They're safe from the anti-monitor. It's a bleed in space and stuff. It's like yellow around the space or whatever. And they tell him that we're safe from the anti-monitor. He can't attack us or anything. But they tell him that millions of lives have died, and we're gonna figure out a way to defeat him. We're gonna have to figure out how to take him down. Yeah, the blade has a different laws of physics though, like naturally occur daily, and beings from Earth's past, present, and futures have started appearing all at once. You even have Lex Luthor, who's teaming up with the Batman's villains like the Joker, who and Poison Ivy, Two Face, and Solomon Grundy and Killer Croc all working together. They have a Psycho Pirate who, after using his mind wipe to defeat negative energy, apparently Lex Luthor's using him to torture him. And you find out, spoiler alert, that Lex made a deal with the Monitor as well, Anti-Monitor as well. Then you have the Bat family, just in Gotham, Jason Ed was Batman, and they fight the Nazis. Uh, you know, Robin, Dick Grayson fights a version of Bane. He's able to take him out because Bane is controlled by, well, what makes him strong is his venom, it gives him a super strength. So it's some pretty good action in there. Also, I forgot to mention, they fight dinosaurs in here. I know people thought that was random. Now you could maybe use a little more blood for the dinosaurs, but I do like the fact that Green Arrow and we see Black Canary, which is cool. I do like the Black Canary character. Uh, they fight the dinosaurs. I liked it when Superman, the two Supermans are using heat vision. I thought that was cool. And here we get what I like about part three is what we got a little bit more action too, and the heroes teaming up, which I wanted the Justice League. I wanted these heroes teaming up and fighting in the first place. You should have done that with part one. I know part one was setting up, but part two, the whole thing with the Psycho Pirate character, you didn't need him. He was not that developed. We didn't need him in here. They should have just been the heroes, the whole time in all three parts. This is the Justice League Infinity Shop movie that I wanted. The heroes teaming up. You can say it's bizarre, but hey, I've seen a lot of bizarre things in the DC universe, and I do like the fight. I like Green Arrow when he, Velociraptor, he like shoots up at the Green Arrow, electrocutes one, gets one tied on the foot. You know, and Green Arrow makes jokes, of course. Him Black Canary fighting. Aquaman is about to fight this giant T Rex or whatever dinosaur. And I liked it though. What I thought was funny was Lois Lane. As Lois starts throwing trash cans at it, which I thought was funny. That's what I like about her. She's a badass character in a way who doesn't hesitate to get me into a fight herself. She's an army brat. She grew up. Her father is General Sam Lane, so she's been in the military, around the military, and is able to, pick a fight sometimes. She's not your usual damsel in distress. But Aquaman's like, "No, Lois, I got this," and then he gets this giant monster out of the sea because Aquaman can talk to them. Arthur gets him to attack, and she's like, "Oh, you do got it. Sorry." I thought that was funny. Yeah. But Superman is able to use his heat vision, and other Superman as well. Wonder Woman is able to use the lasso of truth to control the T Rex to help them fight. And they have the armor show up from this other universe. Lois Lane tries to question them, interview them. It's like, "Lady, we're just strangers," and all the dinosaurs just run out of there. But then I said we get to Gotham, and then they fight the Nazis with Bane, and Scarecrow's fear gas gets on Batman. Then Batman, has sees them like as demons or I mean like skeletons or whatever, or giant skeleton coming after him. And then the memory of Flash or Barry telling him about, look before time, Bruce, look before time, Bruce, to the beginning. He never realizes that it was a dying Flash. And at first, Batman's like, Flash, Morgan. He wakes up this doctor. He's like, I need another doctor's opinion. Bruce says, and he gets it from Doctor Fate. And they said, Wonder Woman, Superman don't believe him. Just maybe since they were a war, maybe it was fake. He wasn't really saying what he was think he was saying. But Batman is sure he saw what he saw. and Dr. Fate does confirm it that the solution to the crisis lies before the multiverse was created. Stewart tells the others about Constantine, who claimed to be from them. So Batman, Fate, Stewart, and Wonder Woman, they lose satellite to find Constantine. They find him in a bar in a western, in the Old West. The Old West guys try to shoot them. Dr. Fate's like, calm down. He uses his magic to get them all beers, but instead they try to fight with him. But no success. Even John Stewart, who lost his ring in part two, is able to, handle fisticuffs. They fight with him a bit, but then, then you have, the Steve Trevor from the West who died in World War, who was killed World War, just like World War, who was, spoiler alert, shot by Jonah Hex in that movie, animated movie. But here he's alive, and he helps them out. And Constantine, I liked it when Constantine was drinking beer. He's voiced by Matt Ryan. Of course, he played the character in Arrow season 4 and DC Legends Tomorrow. I'm talking about from the Arrowverse. It's the same guy. Even though my favorite John Constantine, is Keanu Reeves. That's just me though. So they use Fate's magic to restore Constantine's memories. Constantine, we get the scene from Justice League Dark Apocalypse. So I do think that's better than this. I hate that franchise ended. But Justice League Dark Apocalypse, where, you know, Constantine in this version, well, his Constantine did this magic touch. He's able to use his magic to prevent this from happening. Hmm. He travels him, to kill Flash when he's vulnerable to kill him as an infant. You see the Flash just go back in many times because again, Barry's powers, abilities, Flash abilities that when he runs so fast he can travel back in time. He travel. Can I ever? I'm sorry. Can I barely talk? He can travel back in time with his abilities, and he goes around. And I guess since Constantine's able to use his magic, all the his army and the army, his army in there on Apocalypse start dying. And of course, this Batman's never heard of them because in the Tomorrowverse they don't know that he exists in this universe. They don't know who Darkseid is, but he tells them that Darkseid is a tyrant, is a dictator, who destroys worlds and takes them over, you know, and uses people as a slave. He's just a monster, and of course a nemesis of Superman, yeah, and a tough foe for the Justice League to fight, and one of Superman's toughest, enemies to fight. His dark side has like an Omega beam that comes out of his eyes, to easily murder you. And then, Flash Barry tries to does this thing with his hand. When Speedster does this with her hand, they can touch your heart and squeeze it. And he sees, you know, Darkseid as a baby, but the Flash can't come into doing it, because he's not a murderer, and Batman knew he wouldn't do it. And you find out it's really Constantine's fault that all this happened because he messed with time, messed with the multiverse, and the reason is dead because people are dead because of him. So Lex Luthor arrives on the satellite, revealing that the Anti-Monitor has found the blade, forced his way inside of it. He destroys Earth 14602. The questions like, well, what, the questions like, finds out that questions Lex Luthor on his motives. This is that Luthor revealed that Bleed's location to the Anti-Monitor in exchange for Earth-10 survival. He's like, well, a lot more would have died if you can thank me. All we have to do is just trap him. Lex was planning to trap him too. And Superman's like, well, we have to find his kryptonite, even though they know that the truth of Luthor, because Luthor is a villain as well and a madman himself, so they can't really, if they can trust Lex Luthor. But his team is supervillains that understandable, so they capture Psycho Pirate, torture him, and contact the Anti-Monitor. Luther's goal, however, true goal, was to bring the Anti-Monitor to the police so that they could study its weaknesses, kill it, and of course they do study it. And I forgot to mention, well, sometimes I go over my reviews that Aquaman, Arthur, the Anti-Monitor is destroying his world, so Arthur has to go back. Mr. Terrific sends him back, sadly, and Aquaman sadly dies with Mira, his wife, and his child. They all, and Atlantis in that Earth version all die and perish. And they do study the weaknesses. Luthor suggests that Superman could absorb the power from their suns and channel it into a blast strong enough to destroy the Anti-Monitor. But Lois Lane's like, hell no, that's not going to happen. And, but Superman's like, I'm going to do it. This is who I am. I would sacrifice myself to save everybody. Superman would. And him and Lois, she's like, yeah, hugging him. It goes to him. They cry, and so sad for that moment. But then Superman, is going to go fly there. But then the car flies faster, and the car, Supergirl flies. She's like, I killed the monster. You know, I lost my friends. And she could just tell how important his relationship with Lois was. Like, she just wanted Kal-El to move on. And, she wanted to do it because she figured, I did some bad things too, and I got to make up for it. You know, she is guilt-ridden over killing the monitor because she's not a killer, but also wanted to save the world herself. You know, so she comes along with the sun. Yeah, so she goes in there, all the Earth suns, and she becomes a part of it. And she says, I'm sorry. Her eyes are like yellow, and she takes down the anti-monitor. Yeah, they get edited by Green Lantern, of course, and John Stewart gets his Green Lantern, gets his ring back. They're aided by also by Martian Manhunter, who we thought was for World, but was actually on World already with Lobo. We see Lobo just for one scene, which I thought was funny. Yeah, they're able to use Psycho Pirate's powers to control the world through hope. Yeah, but in here, the Anti Monitor himself, he's like, yeah. But Psycho Pirate, he's like, he just his mind is out of it. But the energy works though. It weakens Anti Monitor long enough for Supergirl sacrifice to liberate him. The heroes and villains gather in the war world thanks to Martian Manhunter. Batman explains Constantine's hand in the crisis and tells them about Darkseid was a fixed point in the universe. But his death shattered the universe into two halves instead of fixing the Earth. So pretty much Constantine made it worse. It's, Darkseid, there's. What I'm trying to explain is like the universe is fairly balanced. And when Constantine sent the flashback, he shattered it basically. And that's why I created this multiverse. I'm not a scientist, but I can't explain that enough. Sorry. So the multiverse has been dividing with similar decision points ever since. Reality cannot cope with many universes, so the anti-monitor was created in response, killing off universes to prevent total collapse. So normally anti-monitor approaches a satellite, killing Earth 508, which we see Kevin Conroy's Batman for the last time. Joker's like, Batman, you decided to see your last moments with me. And him and Joker fight. He's like, well, at least I get to go out. I care about one thing, Joker, Gotham, and justice. And at least I get to go out being Batman. He punches him. And that was the last line we hear of Kevin Conroy. And it was sad to see that. We also see the Justice League from the 2001 cartoon. We see Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, share a kiss before they're about to die. You do see Superman and Wonder Woman, but they're from behind. voiced by George New. Well, we don't hear their voices. You just see them in here, and you see the Teen Titans get destroyed. The one from I guess the cartoon, they get destroyed as well. But it was good to see Connor do Batman one more time. It was sad to see. It was really made me almost want to cry. This was his final time as Batman. I think they paid some nice respect for him. Even though I heard in that Suicide Squad video game they killed his Batman off, which I hate that. Don't want to play that game because of it. But I think this is what I'll give this movie. Even if you hate this film, at least they respected, and paid tribute to Kevin Conroy one more time for Batman. Yeah, that he was the definitive Batman. That he is the definitive voice of Batman. You know, Constantine suggests that the multiverse, the multiverse into a single moonverse that really rarely can cope with Batgirl, and Batgirl suggests using the Miracle Machine, which her and Supergirl had talked about earlier. They were talking and eating a little earlier, and they talked about the Miracle Machine that we saw in Legion of Superheroes. Supergirl had hidden in a pocket dimension before she died, and Supergirl does die though, and that's when you see the poster. So Superman, everybody, all of these characters, even the villains like Joker and all the villains and heroes there, like Cheetah, ton of characters. Superman's like, ah, just roaring. And it is really heartbreaking to see her die. I know she's a character, but it was a touching moment. Um, so the heroes they assemble, with the Spectre character watching. The heroes and villains walk into the new universe except for Question, who rejects the false reality on principle. Psycho Pirate, whose mind was prior to Power of Warworld. I guess you said he's just mind screwed for the rest of his life. Constantine does brace himself for punishment for what he did for any of the multiverse. Everybody goes, including Batman, saying goodbye to his daughter Huntress. Well, from that universe. And they all leave. They'll go to this new universe. They had time on her thanks to Supergirl. They in her sacrifice destroyed. They say the universes. Well, they stop him from killing other universes, but they go to live up to a new universe. Constantine, John Constantine goes to off with the Spectre to deal with his fate afterwards. You know, the multiverse is then destroyed. Then in this, you also have I forgot to mention Wonder Woman. She sacrifices herself to kill the Anti-Monitor too. You know, but then you have a young version of her on Clifftop. Her mother urges her to step away, as even princes are not mortal. I don't really think you needed that scene, but I was telling us that in this version, there's this Wonder Woman that's still alive. I guess on this Earth, there's just Themyscira. That's probably what it's telling us, and that's the end of the movie. So yeah, so that's Justice League Crisis on Infinity Earths Part One. I mean Part Three. Before I get my final opinion on it, just let me get some water. I'm sorry if I missed some things. This is my first time watching this movie. So anyway, my final opinion. I really enjoyed Justice League Crisis on Infinity Earths Part Three. I thought the story was really good. Now people won't agree with me. It's fine. But I like to see them. The action I thought was really good here. Uh, I like seeing that we get more villain heroes and villains in this movie. We see the Justice League teaming up, and it feels like to me this felt like out of this franchise, out of this three trilogy, this felt like a Justice League movie. Where part one felt more like a Flash movie, part two kind of felt like a Psycho Pirate movie with too much going on. I thought this was consistent with the story. It does have to do with what happens with the multiverse, and the film focuses heavily on that and the characters and what they're going through and how the Justice League are trying to cope with it and trying to stop it. And some things in here are real sad, like Supergirl's death. And yeah, the emotions in here run high. The stakes are high in this movie. You know, yeah, and I thought it was entertaining. The action I thought was really good. I like seeing them fight dinosaurs and Nazis. I thought that was cool. I like seeing some of the Batman villains in here, like Joker and Two Face. That was cool to see him as well. it was great to see a lot of the villains in this movie and heroes just teaming up. Yeah, but it felt like a big ensemble movie, is what it is, and that's what the first part three should have been, just the heroes teaming up and fighting a little more. You know, that's why I think that made this franchise not so great is that they didn't really focus on it being Justice League. Only part three, in my opinion, felt like a Justice League film. The other two films did not. You know, felt like we were going to be a Supergirl movie, a Psycho Pirate movie with the Batman family, and then Flash. Even though I do like part one still, I really do enjoy part one. I have it on my shelf because I do like it. Uh, but the action was good. I think it's well directed. I think part two was well written. It pays very good tribute to Kevin Conroy. It's just that's also what makes it sad. You know, at least he went out being his Batman, being being the voice of Batman one more time. Screenplay is good. The editing, the action scenes are good. The music is good as well. I completely remember was good. And I didn't mess. There were issues with the pacing, but I didn't mind. I get it. It was trying to take its time with the story. It went out there and I mess. I felt like this was the fast paced one though. I mean, I didn't feel like the pacing was that slow in this movie. Pacing was fine to me. I think the first one has some pacing issues with the pacing. Part two, the pacing is horrible in that one. But this one, I thought the pacing was fine. I didn't get bored one bit because I like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and these main Justice League characters that I cared about, and that yeah, it was enjoyable for 98 minutes long, and it felt like it. Yeah. Do I think? Yeah, like I said, problems. Well, sometimes the pacing is not that great in this movie. It does have some slow moments here and there, but I can be okay with that because it's trying to tell you a story, trying not to rush, and that's fine. It is awkward that they're fighting dinosaurs. I do wish this movie had a bit more blood in it, or people weren't getting eaten by dinosaurs. I want to see a little more blood and gore in there. They could have made this film totally rated R. Like that's what I like about Justice League War, especially that movie. That movie is bloody and rated R. Like have some balls, DC. You made some rated R movies before, and in some of their PG-13 movies, there's been blood and gore in there a little bit too. You know, don't hide it. If this is your final showdown, you need to show some blood and stuff a little bit. They do in here, but I didn't feel like it was enough. Add a little more blood and gore in there. You know, I get it. It's so many characters that you can't. You know, it is a lot of characters, but I like the characters they show in here. Again, this is a big ensemble movie, and it felt like a Justice League movie, end all be all. And if this is the last Justice League animated movie, I'm fine with that. Thought they had a good run with this movie, but as a trilogy, I would say this is not great for a trilogy. Could have been done better if you would have focused more on the Justice League characters themselves. We could have found out all this history a little later. Just focus on the Justice. If it's a Justice League movie, focus on that and the heroes and villains. Just show more of that in the villains. They should have done that in part one, two, and three. This is the part three should have been the whole trilogy is them teaming up with the villains, heroes and villains of the DC universe. You know, teaming up to fight each other. You could have done so much more with it. I think. I mean, but part three, the animation I think is real good. The action, the story here was good. The Anti-Monitor is a big threat for a villain, very powerful, but they do take him down. The sacrifice of Supergirl and Wonder Woman, which you can definitely tell. It's no spoiler really. You probably had to figure Supergirl's died if you look at the poster for this movie, which I do love the artwork. You know, that's one thing I love about DC is a lot of their artwork, and I like the artwork here. But this does spoil the movie for you. But this is really good artwork. This really intrigues me to want to watch the movie again. That's what I love about DC. The artwork for their films, their posters is always good. Ever since Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which I would say is probably the first DC Universe movie we ever got, the big DC animated movie we got, with that amazing poster of Batman, like flapping his cape out and the Phantasm behind him, or Batman Free Sub Zero, Batman Returns to Joker. DC has a lot of, oh, sorry, I just hit my computer. A lot of their movies, even if I'm not fans of them, a lot of them have great posters, in my opinion. I love their artwork. They do such a good job with it. So, I don't know what I can say. It is an enjoyable movie. Is it perfect? No. But I say this is my favorite. I probably said part one, but part one is my second favorite. But this is my favorite of the Just League Crest and Phineas Part 3. I think this is, in my opinion, this all three of these movies should have been what this movie should, in all togetherness. They should have had to be the Justice League team up with the heroes and villains and more Justice League. Don't make it feel like a Flash movie. You get out of that a little bit in there, but not for a whole movie. I'm not complaining because I do love the character of the Flash. But the thing is, though, yeah, part two you have Batman, but you don't really get Batman enough. But here you do get Batman more in this movie, especially given Conroy. I liked that we saw all those scenes just like Dark Apocalypse. That was good. Apocalypse War. Sorry, forget the title of the movie, but I know it's where they fight Darkseid. Yeah, but it is an entertaining movie as well. I like seeing the character of Dr. Fate in there. A lot of good characters in there. And our voice cast is spot on too. Especially Mark Hamill's Joker. He is the definitive voice of Joker. Just like the definitive voice. Kevin Conroy will always be the voice of Batman to me. No matter which actor voices him in the future, it will always be Kevin Conroy, who is the best voice of Batman and one of the best actors to play Batman, along with Adam West and Michael Keaton and the late Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer who passed away this year in April. I think it was April when Kilmer passed away. Yeah, but but this was really a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Loved it. Yeah, I completely would say it's a great movie, but wasn't perfect. But it was good enough. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't know what I can say is that I enjoyed Justice League Crystal Infinity Part 3. So, guys, my rating for this movie is 4 to 5 stars and a thumbs up. So, tell me in your opinion, guys. What do you think of Justice League Crystal Infinity Part 3 in your opinion? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you think of this trilogy as a whole in your opinion? And how would you rank the DC Universe animated movies, including with the Tomorrowverse? How would you rank all of them? Yeah. And what are some of your favorite DC animated movies and live action ones too? I got it. Next review. This will be a Marvel review. I believe it is an MCU movie. Probably, in my opinion, the last best one we'll get. Yeah, I'm saying it because I got a feeling after this, I'm probably not going to like. Yeah, yeah. This is the 34th film in the MCU, and it is a sequel to the 2016 film Deadpool and Deadpool 2 from 2018, directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Yeah, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine, which was July 26th when this came out. Yeah, July 26th here in the US. Last year it came out. So Deadpool and Wolverine. This will be my next review. In my opinion, this is probably the best live action movie, live action wise, probably the best superhero live action movie. In my opinion, the best superhero live action movie. Oh my god, I have to repeat that 3 times. I'm sorry. It's like a damn broken record. But anyway, the best live action superhero movie of 2024. Because after this, yeah, you're probably going to see some rants. Just like with Madam Web, after this movie, when you see me talking about any 2024 superhero movies that are live action like this, you're probably going to see rants. This is probably the only one that I've actually really enjoyed. But I'll get to more of my thoughts and opinion when I review Deadpool and Wolverine. I can't wait to talk about this movie. This movie was awesome. Can't wait to watch it again. I really enjoyed it. And we see Wolverine in his costume, which was awesome. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in my review of Deadpool and Wolverine. And also, tell me what you think of Justice League Crystal Infinity Part 3. What's your opinion on it? Again, how would you rank the franchise, DC Animated Universe movies? How would you rank all the DC movies? Including how would you rank the live action ones and also the DC animated ones? Starting with Batman Mask of the Phantasm. I know it's many movies, but how would you rank all of them, in your opinion? And what are some of your favorite DC characters? Who is your favorite DC character? Mine's Batman. And also, how would you rank the DC animated movies and live action ones? In your opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in my review for the next one tomorrow of Deadpool and Wolverine coming up next. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.